Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to be part of the Medical Women Association of Nigeria. CSW event is the 66th edition this year, and I will be talking on gender perspective on the solution to climate change, and then the need for us to have more advocates and the role that women can play in both of this process. I am Dr. Daniel Chidubem Buje. I'm so grateful to Dr. Adekemi Otolori, the national president of M1 in Nigeria. So proud. And my senior colleague and mentor, Professor Rosemary Ogu. I'm also thankful to Dr. Wimi, who has also been facilitating this. And I am so excited to be in the midst of wonderful panelists and speakers. Thank you so much for having me. I'll go straight to my presentation proper. So I'll highlight some important things: the impact of climate change, the theory behind gender perspective and its use, and the likely solution that we can have. So as a way of introduction, I'll start by saying that global insecurity is a term that has become more popular in the last 2 decades, and it occurs when the quality and the condition for safety in a place cannot be guaranteed, and then that level now reaches a dangerous level where people get to transition or to move out of harm's way or to move out of areas where they reside. So the common global mentioned threats to global insecurity are often transhuman migration, what we call the refugee status, infectious disease, just like we have in COVID, the threat of nuclear weapon and its use, the conventional conflicts as is going on in Ukraine and Russia, and religious persecution. All of this can pressure and create global insecurity. Also, strangely, is climate change, which I will explain in the presentation as we go. So what is gender perspective, and why is gender perspective important in us addressing climate change? It's a framework or a theory or a model that looks at how policies and socio-political construct or system interacts with both male and female, what we call gender-based differences, and see how these impacts are equitably distributed. Sadly, it is not. So it also looks at how the design and the implementation of these policies move towards empowering and addressing immediate needs and even futuristic needs, as women often tend to have. And this also has its own issue. So nations that do not take gender perspective serious always fall into a big problem. So the next question is, what is gender perspective now as it pertains to climate change? We know that climate change is a serious threat to every nation because it has a disruptive and a destabilizing effect on both the local and then of course across border, and its impact always presents with humanitarian crisis, destabilizing the existing political structure, especially in nations that have very undemocratic governance style, that have weak leadership, that even have visionless leadership. Gender perspective as it relates to climate change means that it is assessing and appraising these global policies to see how they impact on the gender difference, both male and female, like I said earlier, and to see if at all even those participants, the human component, are empowered enough to be able to cope. And sadly, the reports that we get from all these assessments are that women are disproportionately affected and are way more worse off than any other group, leading us to now why we should be worried about the impact of climate change on women and on everyone. Climate change leads to destruction and disruption of any existing system. It often presents with high temperature, rising sea level in some part of the world, pollutions of our waterways. In all, it magnifies existing problems within the society and makes it more disruptive. So the crisis leaves behind a lot of bitterness, because you see flash floods that carry people away and destroy properties end over the years, storms that destroys everything, droughts that makes it hard for food supply to be generated, poor yields in agricultural stuff, and then displacement of people within and outside. So altogether, this creates stress on humans and on land and make it practically unviable, and this loop is what women always get entangled with. Now, this loop is very important. On the upper right are locusts invading in Kenya, an agricultural field. As you can see, the man running for his life. Climate change is making it so hot and making this insect produce way much more, and eat much more. So they ravage the entire place. On the lower bottom here is a situation where we have animals just dying off in Niger Republic in their thousands because of hot temperature and worsening environment. At the upper right corner here, we have a representative of government doing an interview. Though it's a promo, but they're showing the reality of their time. This is supposed to be land where people can stay, but you can see the ocean has eaten into it, and this is in Kiribati. Then lower here is Mozambique in 2019. Hurricane Ida, you can go and check it up, destroyed the entire country. Until today, they've not recovered at all, and nobody even seems to hear what is going on there. That's the impact of climate change. So the crisis is way more worse when there's poverty, the inaction of many government, like I've said. If it is not urgently addressed, the scenario will be the scenario in Sudan, the first known African country where climate change triggered war, triggered global insecurity. It disrupted socioeconomic activities within that region, and it affected healthcare system, and it affected lives of people. And we fear that this may go on if we do not take action now. Sadly, women are always in the front line of this crisis unfairly, and because they try to want to look for food, and in the process of looking for food, they are easy target or soft target for frustrated men, some government officials, and some bad actors who exploit them. Food insecurity, climate change are all married together and create a dangerous loop. If food insecurity happens because of climate change, it means our health outcome like malnutrition and obesity will get worse, and when it gets worse, it means that our food related non-communicable disease will increase in its number, and then things will get bad. Next slide, please. So we need to take action, and the ways to take action is to understand what climate change is and how it impacts our environment, to know where we need actions and the roles that we all can play. A picture here shows that a picture below here shows an owl who is returning back to fly to see that the home, the babies have all been destroyed, and that's what we call biodiversity loss or habitat loss of both forest and arable land, to give way for things that are not even very productive, like shopping mall and skyscrapers and things like that. The action we need now is mitigation and adaptation, and the reality is that governments have a lead role on this area. So do we know how this story ends? Yes, we know how this story ends, but quickly I want to show you a picture. This is 1973, a picture, an area view from NASA of the waterways in Lake Chad. You do know this is Nigeria, this is Niger, Cameroon and Chad. We all border this country. Now this blue sign shows the water body, but this is 2017. As you can see, there are no blue sign here, indicating that the water has dried up. Even at a point, people can even cross on their feet and camel, whereas in 1973 people used to drown in this very natural lake. So yes, we know how it ends. If we do not take gender perspective concerns seriously, we continue to focus on our African mentality of physical characteristics, whether the person is a male, his economic background, the ethnic background he comes from, religious affiliations that the person has. It will continue to keep us where we are, where no African nation till date have met up with the sustainable development goal, because we leverage on all this. So we know that if we fail to act on climate change, we're going to have food chain disruption, quality of water disruption, increasing pollution, biodiversity problem, which will decline health outcome and create fatal consequences. And as Dr. Angela Duckworth, a known clinical psychologist, said, when we are confronted with complex situation, what we need is called grit. Grit is a combination of passionate people and persistence. Persistent to ensure that we create more resilience, we create more efficiency, we create more hope for unborn children. And that's what Team 54 Project have done across Africa. We've met with ministers in Liberia, we've met with wonderful people, and we've met with our own Dr. Akinwumi in the African Development Bank. We're also engaging our rural women and making them realize the importance of climate change. And then the solution is to embrace sustainability approach. The sustainability approach believes that to be the best, to create a best scenario for us in this climate change, we need to consider people's need, the planet needs, and the socio-economic system that drives it. We need to strike a balance in them. This will create the opportunity we need to mitigate and then reduce the impact of climate change. The truth is that there's opportunity for us now as Africans to be able to create a new development pathway and join the big boys, by reducing carbon emission, creating resilience, and promoting clean energy, which will create millions of jobs for our people and create better health scenario for ourselves. And that's what our organization is doing. So the role of the woman is that you need to join the advocacy drive, join people in writing. I'm the only guy in this urban tree planting. Every other person is a woman. I've been supporting young women, and this is Nasrim, who is the most senior young girl who is part of the climate change advisory group in the United Nations. So the solution is that we need to understand the impact of climate change in our area and how it affects us. Women need to ensure that they ask their government to comply with the 2015 Paris Accord agreement. They need to encourage their young girls to learn the responsibility and solutions to climate change, and take it up as a career. We need to also change the mindset of our people to see that our people understand the importance of climate change. Government needs to make investment and development opportunity more possible, empower community, to be able to be more adaptive to climate change, and encourage young people to do that. And that's what we've been doing as an organization. So financing is very important. So in summary, we know that most of the impact of climate change can be best done if we work together, and that's what we should do. In conclusion, only a collective action that has to do with women will help us address this squarely. And as advocate of gender perspective, M1 and other women must support climate change. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this presentation. There's an urgency for us to promote climate solution, and Earth is needing champions, and no best champion can come from women who have the natural endowment to nurture people, who have the natural endowment to create value and virtue. And that's what is being preached in the sustainability framework, that we should be able to help those that are to come behind and still meet up with our current needs. These are the roles that I truly believe that we can do, and there are many beautiful projects that have been going on to that extent. Thank you so much, and God bless you.